Hello, and welcome back to my reasonable takes on the Premier League. This is week 2. I'm trying to get it out a little bit earlier, just so you guys can have that for your consumption. So let's get into this. First things first, also, I am going away. I'm going to get married, so I have to leave, and for the next 2 weeks, I will be out and about doing that and the honeymoon and all that stuff. So just so you know, I will be away and I will not be posting content for 2 weeks or so. And that will happen this weekend. So for game week 3 and 4, I'll be out, but I will be making stuff when I come back and just kind of get myself caught up and reoriented, because I'm not going to be really watching games. If I'm honest, if I do, maybe I'll catch the odd game here and there, but kind of doubt it. You know, I got a lot of stuff going on, so hope you bear with me. But that being said, let's talk about what an interesting week that we've had with this going on. So let's start with Friday night. Friday night for them, not me, but West Ham United 1, Chelsea 5. Okay, so I think this is going to be a very obvious one, but I want to make sure that everybody knows. West Ham has put back-to-back worst performances of the week. That's my opinion. Okay, that this defeat was way worse than the one at Sunderland. It was distinguishedly worse. The one in Sunderland, I mean, look, after about the second goal was scored, actually I would say the third goal when Sunderland scored, I think that's when West Ham's kind of switched off and they're like, all right, we lost 3-0 right after the third one. They definitely got disheartened, but they kind of done. This was after the third goal of Chelsea. The game was over at 35 minutes. The game was over. And which at 35 minutes, I mean, you got to think you play another 10 minutes in the first half and then the entirety of the other second half. And they scored another 2, and it was horrible to watch. Not the game. It was just like I'm not a West Ham fan, but dude, holy, that was hard to watch. Graham Potter identified that the only 2 players that really were running around and still trying to make an effort here were Malik Diouf and Jared Bowen. That was it. I did like the fact that when Freddie Potts came on, he was at least lively and running around, but that's kind of all I can say about that. In just terms of respectable effort being put in to anything. And also too is I think also was it Tim Howard and Danny Higginbotham were on NBC, and they made a good point, and they were like is anybody gonna just throw in a tackle or just show a little bit of desire or care about the fact that you're getting absolutely slain in front of it's a one-off game that the entire nation's watching. You were the standout game for the weekend, going into the weekend. Everybody's watching this. Everybody's watching you get beheaded in the public square. Are you gonna do anything? And by the way, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, terrible body language. He was at fault for the first 3 goals. Just horrible defending. Didn't track his marker for the corner. Let Pedro Neto round around him for the second goal, and then let Enzo Fernandez cross in front of him for the third goal on 2 crosses. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I don't know why he was not even subbed up. I would have thrown anybody in there. I literally would have I would throw anybody in for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. That was such a horrible performance. Hermansen, again, I wanted to say this last week, and now it's this week. Hermansen is so susceptible to corners. Him and Altai Binder, which we will get to that game, just at corners and then going aerially, they look so susceptible to being clowned. And he was at fault for another goal. At fault. It's just he didn't come out confidently. He didn't get it. That's just an issue. The Paquetá, the goal, it's great. The thing is, though, is that just shows to me how good Paquetá is for his one goal. That's individual brilliance. That does not tell me that, like I'm what I'm looking for, like in a team, is like good team possession play, like where you're able to clearly see that the players are linking up and they're stringing passes together to get the ball into a like a high XG goal scenario where like they're able to cross it in, kind of like Chelsea's second and third goals. Like those are the goals where I'm like, okay, this is that was a good progression play, right? But the first goal, I mean, look, Paquetá puts in an individual like piece of brilliance to put the goal up 1-0. Very unlikely, but anyways, I don't even want to talk about. I don't even want to talk about them anymore. That was really pitiful. You got an F if that's not. Yeah, you guys are total crisis right now. Now the other one, Chelsea, you get an A-. I would rate this higher, but I think West Ham were so bad that they were so bad, and they were bad going into it, and they are really bad considering the fact that 35 minutes gone. It was like you clearly killed them. The reason I would actually if you got the same result but Cole Palmer was on the field, I would give this a B+, because it's just like it was so pedestrian. But because Cole Palmer got injured in the warm-up of the game, I'll give you an A- because I think for you and your fan base, I think it was really important for you guys to know that you could win a Premier League game without Cole Palmer. And that's important for depth reasons. And Estevao, by the way, played really, really well. João Pedro showed another level in this game, considering the fact that he's usually the striker, but he dropped back and played as like a 10 where Cole Palmer typically does, and played excellently. So just in terms of your ability to have depth, move players around, and then still be dangerous, that was very important mentally for you guys. Just thinking about like how you can orient your team. Because João Pedro I don't think I've ever seen him play that role before, and he did, and he pulled the strings. So that's a very interesting piece there. But anyways, yeah, West Ham's in crisis. You kind of just put him to death, like killed them. Oh, and also I wanted to say too is that Chelsea, you won the Conference League last year, and for majority of the Conference League, you also didn't have Cole Palmer. He wasn't even registered for the league stage of the competition, and like didn't play a lot of. It's just like I'm like you kind of already defeated some poor teams and some good teams already. So I just putting that out. Want to also say João Pedro, obviously he's now he's grown in such importance now. So it's now Cole Palmer and João Pedro, I think, are like the two main men on the offense. Pedro Neto's continuous, like as long as Neto's got his speed, he's going to continue to be in the team. Estevao, I think, is now becoming Estevao is getting to that point now because he had a good first game, and now he had a really good second game, coming on when he was not expected to. I wouldn't be surprised if your front four now becomes Estevao on the right, Neto on the left, João Pedro up front with Cole Palmer in the middle, with Caicedo and Fernandes as your two midfielders. I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes your front four, because yeah, all of them are playing so well. And I do want to say it's very notable that Liam Delap did not get a goal contribution in this game. Was largely he wasn't absent. It's just like he didn't of this killing spree that Chelsea went on. Like Liam Delap was kind of an afterthought, and to have a game where a team basically just gets murdered in front of you, and Liam Delap not be anywhere really in there. I think Delap has lost his spot. I think it's over now. I mean, João Pedro was the star. That's where the chief competition was coming from, and Delap really didn't deliver anything. So, unfortunately for you, being Delap. I do want to highlight also that my thesis on Chelsea is we've got another data point here. I don't know if you heard that was a huge drop of something from a neighbor. Anyways, this team believes that they could beat anybody. João Pedro in his post-match conference said that we believe we can beat anybody in the league. He said it outright, right? These Chelsea games are going to be shootouts. You guys are extremely athletic, extremely technical. You guys are now showing a little bit of your flexibility on offense, as well as your offensive muscle and being able to blow teams out too. So that's important. And also you guys were down 1-0. And you guys didn't get, I wouldn't expect you to, because you guys have a lot of confidence, but you guys didn't get down on yourselves, with the early goal. But, yeah, that's it. So Chelsea, hats off to you. You guys absolutely destroyed West Ham. So that's that. Let's go to the early kickoff game. Manchester City at home to Tottenham Hotspur. Okay. So, hold on. Yeah. Okay. So, Man City, let's talk about you. You guys, I'm going to give you a C-. A C- here. Okay. So, one is, I think me and everybody else got a little bit too hyped up on the Wolves win last week. Obviously, because you guys lost to Tottenham at home. So it's like, everybody's going to dial it back, obviously. But it's funny because in my reaction of last week, I thought you guys are back because Tijani Reiners was played out of his mind, right? And you guys just look really dynamic. But to be fair, Wolves kind of empty calories a little bit. You should be beating them. If you have any, you should be beating them, right? Tottenham are not they're not like Arsenal or Liverpool right now, where you legitimately need to take really beat them. Tottenham's trying to get there. Tottenham to me feels like a Newcastle or an Aston Villa right now. They just feel like they're trying to build to that level right now. But anyways, I did get something right about your current form, and it's that you can't break down teams. You can't do it. You've now, for the first 30 minutes against Wolves, that's what we saw. And then for 90 minutes here, you could not do it. And your chances were the fact that you're really good at the offensive transition. Once you win, you got to spring the offense and just go straight onto the counter. But yeah, that was a really glaring piece that I might have overlooked. Well, actually, not might have, but I definitely overlooked in the Wolves game when that first 30 minutes. And also, your best chances were winning the ball upfield, pressing, and then countering. And so Pep Guardiola and the rest of you guys are going to have to work on your pass progression, work on breaking teams down, because again, Tottenham putting you away, people are going to look at that and try to see if they can implement something similar to how they can do that. But this is definitely a measuring stick game for both teams, and it's a learning lesson. So you're going to take them on later on down in the year. It's very early in the season. It's okay if you have screw ups like this. It's not the end of the world, right? You're not in a knockout scenario, but yeah. Just kind of keep it there. Tottenham, A+. I want to say too, back-to-back best performances of the weekend. Your 3-0 against Burnley was complete. It was pretty much, you just dominated them. You kind of just put them away. There's really nothing there. But then now you go on the road, and you play a big team, top team, and you put them away. You had a couple nervy moments again, that were down there, but I don't want to take this lightly. You guys are definitely finding your identity. Thomas Frank has, off the back of the fact that you guys won the Europa League last year, and then now you have a team that's much more defensively solid, and there's just a level of confidence that you guys have that you didn't have before. And your midfield pairing also changed. Bergvall and Gray got swapped out. And then you get Paulinho and Bentancur, which are much more defensively solid. Pop Sarr ran his ass off, which was awesome. He was the workhorse. He was running into pockets out on the wings, centrally forward, backwards. He was winning the ball. He was distributing the ball. He was everywhere. And I want to just say that Pop Sarr, do not sleep on that guy. I know Spurs fans aren't, but I'm just saying that he is his work rate is so good. It's crazy the amount of like mileage he has in him. Talked about Sarr, Kudus, and Johnson, extremely fast. Richarlison looks like that four, Sarr, Johnson, Kudus, and Richarlison, that's a front four. That's you got it nailed in already. You don't have to be thinking about it. I mean, Wilson Odegaard and then Dominic Solanke are not getting into the team. I'm looking down the rest of these guys. Matthias Tell, probably not. Like, if I'm honest, I mean, as long as those guys keep playing. What's crazy to me too is that, like, I mean, James Madison's out. Like, you guys have a ton of injuries out here. Destiny's gone. Dragoshin's gone. Kulusevski, Madison. Like, these are Yves Bissouma. Like, this team should not be as solid as they are right now. So, like, when these guys come back, I mean, it's going to be hard to play with them, honestly, because these guys are more of the old guard, like being Kulusevski and Madison and even Bissouma. But, like, man, you look like a different cut already, which is great. And man, Paulinho looks like a great loan signing for this year. He looked great at Fulham, and I mean, he's not up to like the top level, you know, that's why obviously he can't get into the Bayern Munich squad. But I mean, for what you guys need right now, like, excellent signing. Last piece, building up from the back is still an issue for you guys. And you're gonna make some mistakes. You know, you might concede the odd goal here and there that's gonna be bad, but I mean, all in all, again, I just want to say this: back-to-back best performances of the weekend, and I don't want to say Thomas Frank is a terrible manager, or just say that he's a bad manager. Like, he is an objectively good manager. I just didn't think that this, like, going into the season, I just didn't think that Spurs were going to be like so put together so early. And that's hats off to Thomas Frank. So that's that. All right, let's go to Bournemouth and my Wolves. Okay. So interesting game, I would say, about this one. Interesting game. Bournemouth 1, Wolves 0. So Bournemouth, I'm going to give you a B- in this game. You guys just had a hard fought win. It was ugly. You just didn't go down lightly, and but you also didn't, like, Wolves went down a man, but you were still kind of under pressure, like, throughout the game. Like, you just never really grabbed hold of the game and then kind of put it down. Like, you just never really had, like, real control of it, and that's why I kind of put you at a B-. And what is good though is that you had an unchanged side. So you lost last week 4-2 to Liverpool, but you kept it together. So Andoni Iraola definitely has, like, a settled 11. That's what we do know. I mean, just looking down here, it's not like you're really losing. You don't have like a laundry list of injuries here. So that's what that tells me, which is fine. I mean, look, it's better. I think it's probably better that way, that he knows who's playing. And also, Antoine Semenyo missed 2 really good opportunities. One in the first half and then one in the second half. So he did get an assist, but yeah, like, he's still a quality player. So I would like, if I was like on your fantasy, I would pick Antoine Semenyo, like, as one of those differential players, like, because he's so good right now. He is so good. He missed a couple chances, but he's going to continue because he is such a threat always. But I do want to just say this, if there's anything to take away from this game for Bournemouth, you were really tested in this game. I thought this game was going to be a draw going into it, but it wasn't. And you guys are still working together hard. You're still, like, you're just finished. You finished strong, like, and that was a difficult one. And you guys are in a rebuilding phase, and that's, like, you guys are just in a rebuilding phase. So I really, like, this is like it's just an ugly win. Like, it's a good win. It doesn't really flatter you. But if you conceded that goal late on, like if you conceded a goal late on and then, in the second half at some point, and like after the red card, and then you guys were, yeah, I mean, look, okay, let me reorient it here. The thing is, Tyler Adams and Alex Scott, there were a couple incidents where Wolves were really trying to get under your skin. So like the mental part of the game, like, was Wolves were trying to get under your skin to drive a red card out of you guys. And there were a couple scenarios where that was tested. Scott like planted a foot on and Tyler Adams threw, I think, Joao Gomez. But this was one of those things where if you won, the level, the amount that you would have gained by winning this game, like in a 1-0 fashion like this, it's less than if you were to like draw the game. If you drew the game, that would have taken more out of you than the win would have been. Like, I think this is one of those games where it was like to win, to maintain the level you're currently at. If you drew this game, I think that there would be some serious, there'd be a little bit of unsettling happen. And then people would really start looking at the exits and start like mentally imprinting like, oh no, it's not that like, are we good enough to be in the league? It's just like, oh, we're going to make some real like steps back this season. So, yeah, that's that. Wolves, I'm going to give a C-. I feel the team needs additions. It's just very obvious that the team needs additions. There's like a thin layer of standout talent that's actually in the front, like the starting 11. And there's quite a few players here that are just, they're either not at the level or they are, they're just not used to the level yet. So it's just like, you just need additions. And the thing is that like losing this game is not going to be the end all be all of like the season. It was always going to be a difficult game. Bournemouth away is a difficult game. For Wolves, it's not like, if you're like Arsenal or something, but, yeah, I mean, it kind of just says like, okay, you guys are a relegation side, a relegation threatened side, because Bournemouth are last year they were top half. This year they're probably mid-table. But if you couldn't get like some point out of an away game against them, then yeah. But and also too is that goals are really needed right now, and also there are now there's two games that go by without a goal. So, if you're goalless in 2, if you make it goalless in 3, now you're like, you can point to like saying, hey, we have no offensive output right now. Do want to put out 3 things that I noticed about Vitor Pereira's coaching as well. One is he started Bellegarde over Andre. That was a bad call. Andre, if you're not aware, he's usually in a partnership with Joao Gomez in the middle here. Really, it was Munetzi was actually here, and Bellegarde was in the middle. But Bellegarde had a rough game. He could not hold on to the ball. It was just too quick for him. And the fact is that there's 3 in the midfield to the 2 in the midfield. So it's like you're going to have less time because there's always a spare man who's around. And yeah, that apparently what was told. Bellegarde also lost the ball in the lead up of the first goal for Tavernier in the 4th minute. So that's that. Bellegarde does like he needs a little bit of space on the wing to be able to yeah. Anyways, that's one. So Andre's a better ball handler and a technical player and be able to pass it and distribute. So I just thought that was a weird move to throw out there. Second one is after the red card, Vitor Pereira, I think, got scared. I think he got scared and he was worried about this game turning into more of a bad defeat and wanted to kind of solidify things. So what was interesting is unless there might be something I'm not sure, because Arias was taken off, right, for Santi Bueno and a defender, a center back actually. And that to me was kind of like, what are you doing? Like, and there was definitely a reaction from the crowd as well, where I just don't like, if there was like a minute issue with like fitness, let's say, I would understand if Arias needs to come off because he's not fully fit yet, whatever, right? Maybe it's around 60 minutes or something. But why didn't you bring in like Huang? Why? Like, why did Huang come on at 78 minutes? Like, it's kind of, I don't know. It's just like a little odd. So that's that. Chachua looks extremely fast. That's another piece. And the last thing, yeah, I mean, a positive is that basically the team is still together. The team fought for each other literally the entire time. I'm not ringing the alarm bells yet for this team, but again, there are signs of issues, right? There are signs of issues, no goals, no points, right? And there, Toddy got a red card from 2 cheap fouls as well. It's just like poor play, but you made Bournemouth scrape this win, like literally work for it the whole time. You guys were in there, we were in just coming after them the whole game. So that's why I give it a C-. I can't be like overly harsh, but anyways, okay, let's go. That was enough on that game. I don't think that needed that much commentary, but anyways, Brentford versus Aston Villa. Okay, so my notes here. Brentford, look, this gives you huge confidence. If I'm a Brentford fan, this is awesome. Okay, that was a fantastic performance. You got a new signing in Dango Ouattara, debut, goal, great, fantastic, extremely fast, just broke through the line, ran it down, ugly goal, but who cares, right? Damsgaard, incredible, right? You now like Shada, Damsgaard and Ouattara are the 3 guys that are the key to your offense in the front here. Haven't seen much from Thiago so far, if I'm honest. Unfortunately, just is what it is. But it looks like you guys have enough quality to get out of the relegation conversation right now. So that's fine. But I still out of the relegation conversation right now. But I still don't buy the fact that you guys aren't going to drift into it at some point in the season. It definitely feels like you might get into trouble at some point. It's a long season. You got 38 games. But I do want to say that getting the goal, having a debut goal for a big new signing of Dango Ouattara is huge. And the fact is that you beat a higher quality opponent like Aston Villa at home, and then getting the clean sheet. So that's huge. But again, I want to say that you do have a lack of depth up front. I really don't see much. Like Fabio Carvalho, we know is like a championship level player. You don't really have anybody else. Like, God forbid you get any kind of injuries, because Shada, Damsgaard, and Ouattara are pretty much it for you guys. And if there's any issues with injuries, you're gonna be in a little bit of a way, because you got some depth in the midfield role, and you got a little bit of depth for the defender role. Not much, but a little bit. But because I think Ayer is a decent player, but yeah, your offensive talent is pretty thin. This is kind of all you're getting out of this, but that's that. So you get an A. If I haven't said that before, you get an A. That was above the standard of where I thought you guys were gonna perform. Aston Villa, this is a D+. Okay, so I want to know what's happening here. I want to know what's going on. You got no goals in 2 games. I understand that Newcastle was a difficult game, but you guys also performed not the best in that game, and then got a red card later on. I definitely can't be hyperbolic against you and say that oh, you guys it's time to pull the fire alarm. We're in a big issue. But it's just the potential, it's like setting the table, dinner's not served yet. It might be, I don't know. You're just setting the table up for what possibly could happen here. Right. So I just want to put that out. It's also clear that you can't break down teams. Brentford is considerably not a higher quality team than you, right? You had 76% possession, 17 shots. You had 2 on target, right? You also had 9 corners. Like, it's just, you had an overwhelming amount of the ball and chances, and you just could not do it. Emery is asking for transfers. You guys just signed Evan Gasson, which good pickup in my opinion. So I like, happy for you guys. But yeah, I mean, you guys had to sell some big players like Jacob Ramsey, and you also had to sell Leon Bailey. You released Coutinho. These were all for financial fair play regulations. So, you know, you lack a little bit of the depth now, right? And you know, this is what I mean by like setting the table, right? Look, you haven't scored a goal yet, and you got 1 point, right? You need to perform better in the next match. That next match is at home to Crystal Palace, and you got to get a result. You got to get a result out of that. If you win, we can kind of take the pressure off, right? You guys have high standards, so there are certain expectations that need to be met. You've now, the draw was a good draw, considering the fact that you got a red card, right? This was this is poor. This is not a good result. If you don't get a win out of Palace, considering that Eze's gone, right, for Palace, Mark Gahey is a question mark. We don't know what's going to happen in however many days' time until the game, right? And yeah, I just, like, you got to win. If it bare minimum, get some goals, like, so you can have a little bit of confidence for your offensive talent, because I mean, Morgan Rogers is extremely talented. I love Andre Onana as well, just as a midfielder. And then Ollie Watkins, like, you got to get. So, yeah, that's it. That is it. We don't need to talk about Villa anymore for obvious reasons. Okay, let's go Burnley, Sunderland. Okay, I want to apologize to Burnley fans for last week's take. So I had a take last week about, I think I gave you guys like a D+ or something like that for getting steamrolled by Spurs 3-0, and like, just anyways, there's a lot of things that I said right. I think the ranking of putting you guys at a D+ was just too harsh, and it's because I saw Leeds get beat by Arsenal, and it made me recalibrate, because Daniel Farke, I'll get into it, but it basically is like, he's like, our games are not being defined by like away games at the big top teams, right? He's like, that's not how we're going to define our season. And yeah, so I gave you guys D+. I probably should recalibrate that to like a C- or something like that. But anyways, this one, A, you get an A. This was good. You really needed this win. This was an absolute necessary win. If you believe in staying up, these are must-win games. There is no draw. There's no draw. This is a winner-take-all scenario. So I'm glad that you guys got a little peace of mind out of this. Your offense pretty much now looks like it's going to be Cullen and Jaden Anthony. I know Foster will chip in with some goals here and there, but I was surprised. Like, Mabry and Brun Larson, basically non-existent. Ugo Chukwu, good move. So we're good there. But also, clean sheet, very important as well. So glad to have you guys get that little bit of defensive acumen applied. You guys also put on a really physical display at home. Definitely some psychological tactics being displayed here too. And you know, that's great. Love the physical play. And yeah, just like there, Sunderland had probably a little bit. They had a little bit more of the ball, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they had more of the ball, but they weren't really able to do much with it. And their counterattacks also were not that effective. You guys were fast enough to get, like, you guys always ran back in numbers. There was always like 3 to 4 players back on the ball. So Sunderland was not able to like get in behind you guys. And that was really effective. And again, you know, just put it out there. All newly promoted teams, you need to make your home field a fortress. You got to win your home games. You got to do it. It's the only chance you really got. You know, sleep in your own bed, win those home games in front of the crowd, make the fans believe that you got a chance to stay up in this league, and then, you know, move on from there. So that's that. Sunderland, this is a D+. This is a massive missed opportunity. You know, you're taking on a team that got promoted with you, and I'm giving you the low grade because of the fact that honestly, yeah, I'm just gonna give this a D. I'm not even giving you the plus. I'm changing it right now. Like, it's because you only have 4 games against the newly promoted sides. Basically, all 4 of those games are like cup finals. You need to win. You need to win. You need to throw everything you got on these games, and to take points. You have to. You have to. The Premier League is in such a money bubble right now that the big teams are so clownishly rich comparative to everybody else that there's only, you know, ask the last 6 teams who got promoted. Like, they all immediately went right back down, and with hardly a chance as well. And that's just, you know, that's just what it is. Another big issue too, Sunderland, is that you got Dan Ballard's injury like 6 minutes into the game. That's a huge problem. He's your number 1 center back, and we'll see how long he's out, because that's a huge problem. He's a massive threat on offensive set pieces. He's great in the air. He's fast. Like, that's I'm sorry, guys. That's like, yeah, that's really rough. Your next game is at home to Brentford. You need to win that one, because Brentford, they don't look that good, right? You need to bring the 12th man. Everybody needs to get hot and like just make it a boiling cauldron like it was against West Ham. Win that game. Get 6 points out of this. Then you'll be fine, right? Like, then you can believe. But man, missed opportunity. You need to make up for it. Like, you need that urgency now, because you don't want to be, I mean, you're probably likely to be, but like, you need many points where you can get them now. And Brentford is one of those teams that could be in trouble. So you got to win that next game. You got to win that game next week. That is a must-win game, again, against another like potentially weaker opponents. Yeah, that's that. Okay, let's move on to Arsenal Leeds. Arsenal Leeds. Okay, so Arsenal. First off, I don't want you to come at me and say, Jack, why didn't you give us the best performance of the weekend? Well, because you beat Leeds. They're a newly promoted side. Like, if you did 5-0 against, I mean, if you did this to basically anybody else that's not a newly promoted side, like, I might actually consider it. But Tottenham put Man City to bed on the road and looked the better side. Like, if you're putting 5-0 down to, I mean, man, like Newcastle or something like that, I'd be like, I'd probably give it to you, because I'm like, that you took down like a considerable opponent and you actually blasted them into space. But anyways, that's neither here. But this game, Arsenal, I'm giving you an A, okay, because you got everything and dessert. You got all of it, right? You got Eze unveiled. You got your new striker, Gyökeres, getting 2 goals. He got 1 actually in play, and then another one in the penalty at the very end. And then you had a 15-year-old that came out, Max Dauman, and played really good. So, you know, you kind of got everything you needed right here, which was good. I mean, look, that's good for the confidence of the team. You know, it's the thing is, like, it's just, you need to win games like this, but you also need to win. There needs to be like a little bit of style here where you can make a statement kind of like this, where you need like to say like, yeah, we're back. We're going to dominate. We're going to put teams aside and everybody's going to get a piece out of this. And I felt like that's what this game was about. Yeah, very, very important. Victor Gyökeres definitely needed his goal for sure. He needed that goal. You could tell he was. I think it just, when you make a big money move and you go to a big side, like the pressure's on immediately. Game one, make an impact, score a goal. So there's that. Also, I think also it was really, really important for you guys to have Odegaard and Saka go out and get injured and like not be. You guys are fine. Like in a game like this, I expect you to win, obviously, but I think you guys just have so much talent now. It's like I expect you guys to still maintain current levels. That's just what it is. Like, I expect you to maintain levels because you guys spent big. You now got Eze, right? I mean, you have Trossard, who's an incredible talent, right? You got Mikel Merino. You got Martinelli, like Norgard, Jesus. I mean, these guys are obviously out for a little while, but my point, but you got my point. Like, you guys have legitimate quality now that you can put on and not really drop a level. And that's what I'm seeing with Saka and Odegaard. So, yeah, you guys are I think you guys are a different team. You guys are no longer like, if we get an injury, we're done for the rest of the season. That's just what I'm saying. You guys are loaded. You guys are loaded. On paper, you're probably the best team. On paper. So enjoy the game. That's just what it was. The game, by the way, was over when Saka scored. It was over. When was it? It was like the end of the second half or the first half. Game was over. 2-0, done. Okay. Leeds, C-. This is after watching this game, this kind of changed my perspective on the Burnley game when Burnley lost 3-0 to Tottenham the week prior. You guys were outmatched. That was we got mashed, and Farca's like this game's not going to define us. It stinks that we got beat 5-0, but whatever. Couldn't agree more. If you guys beat Everton the week prior and you beat them ugly, and it probably should have been a draw, but again, newly promoted sides, you win those games. Who cares how you do it? Just scramble the ball over the line. Who cares about style points, right? It's just about points, like getting points. You guys beat Everton the week prior. That was huge. And this performance can be let go because you won Everton the week prior. So that's totally fine. This feels way more like a welcome to the Premier League game. You guys are probably what you should have is about 1 point out of these two games because you should have drew Everton, but you didn't. You won, and so therefore this does not feel like you can live with this. You can brush it off and you can kind of move on. If you're able, your next game I think is against Newcastle, right? Hold on, let me do a little. Yeah, next game is Newcastle, right? If you were able to take a point off them at home, I would label your August, right? Which it's basically just these 4 huge success. 4 points for 3 games, huge success. That's a huge success. You might be able to do it now because they just sustained a bunch of injuries. We'll get to that game in a little bit, but just saying. But if you still lose, I think you're still working with house money because ultimately you should have like a point by this point, but you got 3, so you're going to be doing better than a lot of teams. So don't be too hung up if you lose to Newcastle also, but ultimately the win against Everton is good. That's a good result. So it just takes the pressure off of you're always going to have the urgency to win, but all right, Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. Okay. how did this go? Okay, Palace, you get a C plus. C plus. This honestly, actually, this game felt like the Aston Villa Newcastle game the week prior. It just felt like both teams were kind of like in the same. They felt like they're both in the same, like at the same level. They just felt like a mirror of each other. And the fact is that both teams are kind of on the same project type, like timeline. I know Forest are actually building like further and more like beyond of where they are now. And Crystal Palace is kind of maxed out. They sold Eze, and they're kind of like, they just kind of hit the ceiling, but they got to go backwards to go forwards. However, Palace, again, I said like they feel like more of a top half team, and that Forest feel like a going to Europe type team, which is one level above. But Forest has a little bit of drama going on off field, and they're on the road, so that's why they feel kind of like they're the same at the moment in this game, that is. But Gay's got the unknown future, so we know who knows what's going on. But when I saw this game, this felt like it was going to be a draw like the whole day. Like honestly, I was like, it's going to be 0-0 or it's going to be 1-1. Like that's really, this felt like a draw all day, every day. Yeah, but you guys got Palace. You got a lot of people injured. I didn't realize until after the fact. Chadi Riyad, Cheick Doucouré, Daichi Kamada, Eddie Nketiah, Mateus Franca. Like that's a lot of injuries. And considering the fact that, Forest are a good side, right? Highly competent side, and Chelsea too is also an extremely competent side, right? You guys were able to get 2 points off them. I think if I was a Palace fan, I'd be like, we still got it. We still got a little bit. We still got the organization and the rigidity around defense, like to keep ourselves in games. Now, are you the best offensively? No. You lost Eze, but you're going to be able to stay in games. You still got a really good defense. Also, I thought this was a really good like little test for that Thursday to Sunday action that you guys are going to have to get used to. You guys played Fredrikstad from Norway midweek. You got a 1-0 win there. But, you have the midweek recovery, and then you got to go and play the Premier League game at the Premier League intensity right on the weekend. So you guys did pretty well for a little test run here. Now, next week is going to be like a real test, right? You got to play in Norway, right, with a 1-0 lead going to Norway, right? So you got a tight affair going to Norway. That anything can happen on the road up in Norway. It's just a different environment up there, right? And you got different stakes. You actually have a knockout environment, right? You could get knocked out of the Conference League, and then this whole Europa League thing is going to look ridiculous because you get knocked out of the Conference League qualifiers by a top 6 league team also. Putting that aside. But you got a trial run for if you guys got the real talent to do it, you're going to win Thursday and get through. And then also, you got to play Aston Villa on the road on Sunday. That's actually difficult. So, but good game, solid C+, solid one. I just don't think I could give. Just a solid game. Yeah. I almost feel like it could give you a B- for it, but yeah. If you had shown a little bit more dominance, then I would have given you the B+, but you guys were really an even side, and I was like, nah, C+ is fine. Forest, I'm giving you a C. If I'm honest, I'm more concerned about what's happening off the field and with Nuno Espirito Santo, the sad relationship with the front office. He's been there for 18 months. You get the whole project with him. It's all threatened to be blown up. And there's been all of this stuff in the week leading up to it about could he get fired? That was not helpful going into this game. You had the banner as well with Crystal Palace, mocking the ownership. I'm just there's a lot of drama that's going on off the field. You got a good side, right? And there's so much drama that's going on. It's a real distraction. and the foundation of this team is at risk. You guys put in a decent performance, but like, I mean, yeah, it's just like your team is regressing. Like if this stuff keeps going and it just keeps like happening, you guys are going to start regressing a little bit, because you're going to start becoming like, you're going to your team. You know, I could see you guys regress back to maybe, you know, at best like a top half team, at worst a mid-table team. Like you could, and like then you could start getting like, you know, players starting whining about like, I don't know about this, and you get like the bad body language, stuff like that. But yeah, you guys performed like kind of average. I will say this one thing: Dan and Doy look so good. Fantasy people, Dan and Doy, he looks really good, really good. The assist that he put through for Hudson Odoi, fantastic. So definitely keep an eye on him. He looks like a real talent. But yeah, the stats bear it out. You guys looked average. You guys looked exactly like the same team. You guys had virtually the same shots, virtually the same like possession, all that stuff. You got a next home game against West Ham. Win the game, right? If you win the game, now you're at 7 points, and you're feeling much better. Hopefully things will die down by the end of it, because you're getting towards the end of the transfer window. I know Nuno wants signings. What's hopeful is at the end of the game, he said that the bickering that the media was talking about is all nonsense, and that things are going to be quashed, or that they are resolving. So who knows? Who knows what's happening? But at least what he's saying publicly is not as inflammatory. But you're really good on the counter. So I definitely want to like highlight that you guys are still good on the counter. All right, Everton versus Brighton. Okay. Everton. I'm going to give you a B+ here. You had the whole game go your way, the entirety of the game. It was like, congrats on the new stadium. Also, you guys, the crowd was really into it. Like, it just was like it was really cool to watch. It was like you guys got like this new levity like to the club. It really felt like you guys kind of like shifted a little bit into a more positive direction, because you know, you guys got the new stadium, you guys got a cool new signing in Jack Grealish. You guys also had a lot of plot armor like throughout this whole thing. Yeah, I mean, Jack Grealish, by the way, like saying he's like, I'm gonna enjoy football again, and I want to be able to like just take it in. That's fantastic. And he's talking about how he has a great relationship with David Moyes. Like these are the things that you really want coming out. You want players to be saying and enjoying their football. So with him and Iliman Ndiaye, great, like good wing partnership. Looks like you guys got a good thing going on there. But and it looks like you have a good feeling around the club. So I still think that you guys are a mid-table side, but I don't think that you are a mid-table side looking down anymore. I think you guys are a mid-table side looking up, and that you actually have a potential to really make it a project to push on. So that's like, there's like an actual optimism here. So I think something shifted with you guys, and I think that's David Moyes. David Moyes, like, kind of put the Band-Aids over it towards, for last season. He's like, all right, let's just not get relegated, and then use the summer to push on. That being said, the plot armor, I do want to say, like, you guys did have some moments. Yankuba Minte missed a huge chance, like on the open net, like right in the front. Tarkovsky gave the ball away. That was right in front of the net as well. That should have been a problem. And then the penalty, obviously, you Pickford read Welbeck's penalty. So you got and then they also had a series of half chances. So it's not really your best performance, but I think this was really important for you guys psychologically to kind of christen the new grounds. So that's good. Brighton, give you a C. You had a 2.4 XG going for the game. You couldn't score. Just not your day in front of net to be able to put the ball in the net. But I feel like this is now 2 games in a row where you guys were the better side. You just could not put the ball in the back of the net. And you even had a penalty in this game. So it feels like you should have gotten at least something on the board today. But like you should have finished off Fulham, and now you should have probably at least gotten back into the game for Everton. I mean, especially with the late penalty miss, was like was that 76 minutes or something like that. So yeah, yeah, you guys are still a really good side. I just like the fact that you're on a point. It kind of sucks. But this is something also, Brighton. Look, you also did not help yourselves, right? You had Fulham at home, Everton away, right? You got Oxford United, so probably going to do a little bit of a rotation because Oxford's not that good. You got Brighton, Man City at home. You got the South Coast Derby, right, away. Spurs at home, Chelsea away. I mean, now we're talking about like the end of September, right? You're basically from now through like basically the next, call it 5 to 6 weeks, you are going to have legitimately difficult games, legitimately difficult. And because you got these 2 games were like you needed to get on to like a good start to at least build momentum into these difficult games. What I'm seeing right now is that you guys are, unfortunately, like a lot of chances created, not a lot scored, and don't get discouraged. You are a threat. You're like definitely in trouble of getting discouraged if you if this snowballs, because of your lack of points. Like if you walk away. The Bournemouth one is the biggest one on the road. Bournemouth away is the biggest one. That you need something out of that one because the Man City game, I don't know what Man City's going to show up here, right? But there's that, right? It's a difficult game. Bournemouth away, you need something out of that. I mean, it's a derby game, and like you have, three of those 4 games are against like significantly talented opponents. I mean, especially now that Tottenham's like playing so well. Again, things can change in those 2 games, the 2 Premier League games that they're playing in the meantime, and also with Chelsea. But again, if I'm a Brighton fan, I'm thinking, we got, don't get discouraged. That's my big thing. Don't get discouraged. Okay. Like trust the process, try to see it through for the month because you're going to go through a real difficult month. Okay. Fulham, Man United, 1-1. Fulham, I'm giving you a B-. You had a solid performance out there. Your midfield in Sander Berge and Sasha Lukic, solid. Like you guys legitimately did really well to shut down the midfield when you could. I understand that it's a little difficult because they have like kind of like a midfield 4 with these guys. Sometimes they drift out wide, sometimes they tuck in. So I understand that, but and Josh King also, the Josh King being the other midfield 3, like really solid. And also, by the way, you're overlapping Sessegnon. I'd find him at the byline all the time, and Kenny Tete was extravagant, so good that game, constantly bombing down the side and like constantly making it an issue. Castagna would tie up Dorgu and he would just keep going. Great stuff. Really good stuff. Okay. And yeah, just the resiliency. Like you guys were pretty much like level up with them. Good stuff. Like just keep it going. This game also felt like the Brighton game the week prior. You guys brought on a sub. You scored late. You deserved it too. Also, I've noticed that Muniz and Jimenez, you swapped the starters, so that spot is totally open for you guys for a striker. And yeah, you get periods of dominance, periods of badness. But look, Bernd Leno played fantastic. Kenny Tete played fantastic. Josh King was great. Lukic was good. Smith Rowe came off the bench. He's probably going to start next week because of what he just did. Unless there's some kind of other prevailing issue, like a fitness issue, then yeah. Man United, I'm giving you a C+. It's just not the result that you wanted, but you guys had some really good individual pieces of play. Cunha was extremely threatening throughout the game. It's really unfortunate he didn't score. Bruno Fernandes missed his penalty, so that stinks. But I think Amorim also said something in his press conference afterwards, saying he's like, we got to stop worrying about the result and worry about the performance of like how we're constructing, because I think he's right there. And I said something similar last week. I'm like, there's only a few teams that are in this league, kind of like Tottenham and it's like Tottenham and Man United. Like they're doing an active rebuild. Like they got to really be worried about the process and less about the result, and stay focused on like just continuously performing, because I think that's really important for you guys, like to actually rebuild, to like everybody to continue to buy in and not get freaked out about the scoreline. Other things too is that obviously Binder flaps at everything like a bird. Casemiro's legs are gone. Your link up play is not quite there yet, but it's improving for sure. It's improving. Cunha, again, still like top level. It has not looked like he's dropped since his move. Yeah, and just continue to trust Man United fans. Continue to trust the process. The fans clap them off, even though they got a frustrating draw, right? Because they can see the improvement. Stick with it. Don't chop and change management. Don't like do. I know there's no talk of like taking Amorim out right now, but just saying. Marcus Rashford said in an interview in Barcelona, the chop and change management, the differing styles every so often was really, really difficult. Also, De Ligt and Dorgu are playing really, really great. Mbeumo too. There's calls for Manu to start over Casemiro. So you're getting a new goalkeeper. You're probably going to lose Onana in that case. I would just say, yeah. My caveat here is the fact that, like, for now, is look, frustrating. You had a spirited loss, and then you had this where like the fans kind of gave you grace because the bar's so low now. It's like that a draw at Fulham is like acceptable, right? But look, kind of with Brighton, you got to deliver against Burnley at home. You got to win. That is a no excuses win. You have to beat Burnley at home. Okay, you got the Manchester Derby and then Chelsea. I don't think any Man United fans looking at that thinking like, oh, we're going to get a result out of this, because you're just not there yet. But Burnley, you have to win against Burnley. You have to. If you don't get a win against Burnley and then you go to Man City, you get maybe trounced, and you maybe one against Chelsea as well, you're going to start smelling blood in the water. Like, that's what's going to happen. You got to win against Burnley, okay? You got to win. That is a non-negotiable. You need 4 points. And just not get blown out. That's basically all it is. Just not get blown out. Okay. Last one. This one actually happened today. I'm recording this on Monday, and this was the most exciting game for sure on the weekend. I'm going to say this also, Newcastle, this was my favorite performance. My favorite. Okay. So Sunderland was last week, Newcastle this week. I don't know what's going on in the north, but you guys are putting out like the best performances right now. So Newcastle, I'm giving you a B-. Okay. This was a really, really difficult loss. Okay. The entire team was on board. The whole crowd was on board. You guys were really redlined the car and tried to like just full pedal to the metal on this game. It was everything. It was like extremely emotional, intense. It was like gladiatorial at times, right? You guys showed all of the emotions of a team that is not mentally mature enough to handle a big game. Okay? Everything. But you also did at the same time. That's like what's so weird about this. So it's like you had both the yin and the yang all in the same game. The positive is that you guys were down 2-0 and a man down. And it was simply incredible in the sense that Bruno Guimaraes, your captain, like just wanted that header way more than Kirkes and just muscled him out of the way to make that. Like that was just simply like, I need this goal. And that's what happened. Asula getting the second goal, fantastic. Like Asula getting the goal and winning that. Another one is just like, and they're off set plays as well. So it's just sheer like force of will to make those happen. So fantastic. Okay. That was, and also, by the way, that being said, the second goal that happened with Ekitike in 46 minutes, I mean, it was so quick after the second half started that was definitely the moment. Like, considering the fact that the red card probably should have killed, it was a goal and a red card. It was like, that's really difficult. But then the goal immediately when the second half started, this should have killed the game. It should have been over. 2-0 and a man down. It's over. These guys are the champions. You're not coming back now. That's what really should have happened, and it didn't. So, yeah, like, hats off. Like, hats off. That is an incredible, like, way to go about. I don't care if you're at home. Like, this is incredible. Now, the poor thing. Anthony Gordon's red card. Okay. Dude, you could have ended Virgil van Dijk's career right, like, in that challenge. That was crazy. Eddie Howe afterwards tried to soften the scenario by saying, I don't think that he was trying to hurt him. Maybe, but I mean, dude, like, okay. If you didn't see it, go watch it. Virgil van Dijk is about here on the pitch. Gordon is up here, makes the full run down, and then blasts Virgil van Dijk right on the standing leg. And it's so dangerous. It's so incredibly dangerous. His cleat comes up like on the top of his calf, like to the top, like up by like midway, right? We've seen so many leg breaks that way. And then on top of that too, the knee that he's sliding on cleans out his ankle. It is, and his ankle like tilts on the inside, like on the inside. It looks so bad. It like fast, slow, doesn't matter. Like, I don't know what Gordon was thinking about. It's crazy how bad that was. The other thing too is what's unfortunate about your injuries. Tonali's definitely got a dislocated shoulder. Joel Linton had his leg injury. I don't know what it is. Eddie Howe said it doesn't look good. And then Fabian Schär also has a concussion. You guys had 3 injuries to key players in this game, plus the suspension. And Gordon's suspension is going to be for multiple games. That was, like, again, I cannot stress it. That was an outrageous tackle. And like, when I was watching this, I was staring at Gordon go just dead sprinting. I was like, what is he doing? Like, I understand he's trying to press, but he like just flat out cleaned out Virgil van Dijk. It was crazy. So yeah, you just like the wheels came off. Like, you revved the engine too hard. The wheels came off. But yeah, again, you guys like came back. You actually, even afterwards, right after coming back and being 10 men down, you still had a ton of pressure on Liverpool, and Liverpool were like on the back heel. They could not keep you like out of possession and out of offense. So again, like, my favorite performance was Newcastle, because just like the sheer like rabid dog, like, man, you guys were just like would not let go. Liverpool, you blew 2. This is now the second game of 2-goal lead blown. Again, it's like this. You guys have a defensive issue. You guys are not quite synced up. Can't say it can't happen. Arne Slot's a great manager, but you guys have now let it slip twice. Also, Virgil van Dijk and Salah now look too slow. It's going to get worse as the season goes on. So they look too slow now. But you guys have a quality, or like a real like world-class quality, where that's going to bail you out of games. My first thought is Gravenberch's goal. Like, that was totally against the run of play in 35 minutes. You guys like did not deserve it up to that point. Up to that point in 35 minutes, you guys were the second best team. Newcastle were all over you, and the stadium was so hostile. It was so hostile. Again, like it's crazy. It's like the Sunderland game last week. I would say the Everton game, because obviously they opened up a new stadium, so there's like a little extra fervor. And then this game, the Sunderland and Newcastle, this Newcastle game and the Sunderland game last, it was just like there was like a hostility that was just the next level. And I'm like, I'm very impressed with the Northern fans right now. That it's just brilliant, like the level of passion. But yeah, you guys just are not in sync yet. That to me. But last thing, Szoboszlai, Gakpo, and Ekitike can do no wrong at the moment. Gakpo and Ekitike are linking up extremely well. Ekitike looks excellent. He's physical. He's pushing people over. He's holding up the ball. He's distributing. Szoboszlai's work rate is so good and it's so world class that I'm not even surprised that he's getting put over in right back. Like, Frimpong just pulled his hamstring, right? Like, usually he throws on Joe Gomez, like the manager of old, threw him on, right? Nope, didn't do that. It didn't do that. Wataru Endo didn't look good in the Bournemouth game last week. He's like the only person I can rely on just putting a bandage over right back for a game is Szoboszlai. So he's gonna have to be there, and he delivered. He looked good as a right back, right? And it's just because he's so aware. So, anyways, that is my reasonable takes on week 2. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you learned something about these teams. I'm not sure. I know they're longer videos, but I just wanted to at least get into depth and then share my thoughts as I'm watching these. But please let me know if you think I'm absolutely like wrong on something, or if I got anything right. Like and subscribe. I'd like to continue to make these. And again, I got a very special event happening in my life next week, so forgive me for I'm going to have 2 weeks of being away, trying to rest up, because obviously YouTube is not my day job, so that's that. Hope you liked it. Thank you, and see you in the next one.